You've probably heard a million times that dopamine is the brain's pleasure molecule. But what if I told you that's just a tiny, tiny piece of the puzzle? Today, we're diving into what dopamine is really up to in our social lives. And trust me, the answer is way more interesting than just feeling good. So let's get right to it. Is dopamine just this simple pleasure chemical? The short answer? Not even close. Its real job is so much more sophisticated. It acts less like a simple reward and more like a master conductor for all our social interactions. And this whole new understanding comes from a really cool study from 2022. Researchers used these advanced sensors to watch dopamine in the brains of mice in real time as they were actually hanging out. And what they saw, well, it pretty much rewrites the entire rulebook. Okay, so let's get one thing straight. Yes, dopamine is a neurotransmitter, and yes, it's linked to reward. But its true function is so much more nuanced. It's not just about what feels good. It's the very chemical that helps us navigate our social world. The researchers broke down every social encounter into what's basically a three-act story. You've got the approach, then the investigation, and finally the action. And it turns out dopamine plays a completely different role in each one of these phases. So let's start with phase one, the approach. This is the moment you decide to get off the couch and actually go talk to someone. This is all about what drives us, our social motivation. And here's the first huge mind bender. During this approach phase, dopamine isn't about pleasure at all. It's not a reward for starting a conversation. Nope. It's signaling your level of motivation to do it. It's the gas pedal, not the prize at the finish line. And check this out, your intent changes everything. When a mouse was just going for a casual, hey, what's up kind of interaction, its dopamine went up a little. But if that approach was leading to something big, like a fight or mating, that dopamine response was way, way higher. The researchers themselves said it perfectly. The size of the dopamine spike is directly tied to how motivated the animal is. More motivation equals more dopamine. It's as simple as that. Okay, on to phase two. You've made your approach, and now you're in the investigation stage. You know, the sniffing out, getting to know you part. And here, dopamine's job completely changes. In this phase, dopamine basically becomes a new friend alert. Its main job is to tell your brain whether this person, or mouse, is someone new and exciting, or just, old news. And the data here is just wild. When a mouse checked out a familiar buddy, the dopamine response was pretty meh. But when it met a total stranger, boom, the response was more than double. The brain is basically yelling, pay attention, this is new information. And it's not like this lasts forever. As that new mouse becomes a familiar face, that big dopamine spike starts to shrink. It's the brain's super efficient way of saying, okay, got it, we can chill now. And now for the climax, phase three, the action. This is where it all goes down. The fight, the mating, whatever the interaction is. And this is where dopamine puts on its judge's robes and delivers a final verdict on the whole experience. And that verdict is crystal clear. A mouse wins a fight, its dopamine levels surge. That's a big, positive, let's do that again signal. But if it loses, dopamine levels just plummet. That drop is a powerful, negative signal that says, that was bad. Let's avoid that in the future. It's a direct stamp of good versus bad.
So this seems like a pretty neat and tidy story, right? But the researchers asked a really important question. Does this whole complicated dopamine dance work the same way for males and females?
And the answer was a huge no. And this might be the most fascinating part of the entire study. During a fight, males get a massive dopamine spike. Females, a teeny little one. But look at mating. For males, the act itself causes dopamine to go up, but for females, it actually causes it to go down. The timing is different too. During the final moment of mating, the male's dopamine surges instantly. But in the female, that same rewarding surge is delayed by about 2 seconds. This tells us that positive experience is literally being triggered by different things for each sex, even though they're in the same event.
Okay, let's pull all this together. We've seen dopamine as a motivator, a novelty detector, and a judge. So why does all this incredible detail actually matter?
The big takeaway is this. Dopamine is not one simple signal. It wears at least 3 different hats. In phase 1, it's all about motivation. In phase 2, it's encoding novelty. And in phase 3, it's judging the outcome, the valence, whether it was good or bad.
So this completely flips how we should think about it. Dopamine is not a simple pleasure chemical. It's way more like a Swiss Army knife for the social brain, with a different tool ready for each stage of an interaction.
And this isn't just theory. The researchers actually showed that if you mess with these dopamine signals, you can directly change how the mice behave.
And this part is the real kicker. Remember how dopamine drops when a mouse loses a fight? Well, the scientists used light to control the mouse's neurons. I know, it sounds like sci-fi. And they reversed it. They artificially boosted dopamine during the defeat. The result? The mouse learned absolutely nothing. It never learned to avoid the mouse that beat it up because its brain never got that all-important "this is bad" signal.
And that has massive implications for us. Understanding this system could be a huge key to unlocking things like social anxiety, how we learn from our wins and losses, and even what makes some people more resilient to negative social experiences than others.
It really just makes you wonder, doesn't it? If just one of these chemicals is playing such a complicated, multi-layered role in every single social thing we do, what other incredible secrets is our social brain still hiding from us?